Republicans will be gathering this weekend to celebrate their 1916 rebellion. What's your Easter message to Republicans, Willie Frazer?
Well, first off, the fact that they're gathering to celebrate a disaster speaks volumes in itself. Basically, what they did was a complete failure, but been allowed to turn it into some type of propaganda victory, which is not. There was a bunch of scumbags who got together, and some of them actually their leaders actually broke down whenever fire was returned on them. So if they're going to commemorate something, do something decent.
You mentioned the recent UDR commemoration. Obviously, this is the 40th anniversary of the creation of the regiment. You were a invited guest last night in Ballymena. It was obviously a night of mixed emotions for you and for many men.
Well, it certainly was mixed emotions. But the one thing it did give me was encouragement, because I know after last night, not that I had forgot, but it remembered me why the IRA could never defeat the people of Ulster. They could always con the Englishman, but they could never con the Ulsterman. Well, the majority of us, anyway. And the men and women that were there last night was the reason the IRA were defeated in the first place, because they had the guts to take them on. And
recent statistics reveal that in any given year, the UDR commit 11 million man hours to the defence of Northern Ireland. As the son of a former member, what was that like from a family perspective? Exactly what sacrifices did your father make on a day-to-day basis towards those 11 million hours of man hours that the UDR gave to the community?
Well, basically, they were on duty 24/7. Once you were a member of the Ulster Defence Regiment, you were, even though you were a part-time member, you were a full-time member of the security forces. You were a target. Most of the men that was killed within the Ulster Defence Regiment were killed doing their day's work, going to the place of worship, or out shopping with the family. None of them, or very few of them, were actually ever killed while they had the uniform on, because the IRA hadn't the guts to meet these people face to face. And even on some occasions, when they did try to shoot some of these men at their work or coming out of their homes, a number, and this is a story that's not told, a number of these men actually were able to take the IRA on because they had their personal weapons, and 4 and 5 gunmen would flee the scene when a man was able to return fire. And we have cases of a lone UDR man chasing 4 or 5 gunmen across the fields. These are the stories that's never been told, but we intend to change that. We intend to tell the true story of what heroism is all about. Not lying behind a hedge or a hood on your head, lying in the middle of the night for some man to come home so you could shoot him in the back.
You've voiced concerns about the present failure by the Chief Constable to move against Gerry Adams, to arrest, to question him in relation to recent revelations. Can you comment on that, and also speculation that there have been some notable advances in your own private investigations against senior Republicans?
Well, the situation has become so bad in Northern Ireland that we have had to set up our own private investigations, and the stuff we're finding out is unbelievable. And why a number of these men are not arrested and put in jail is beyond us, because the evidence is there. We have the like of scumbags like Adams now sitting in government, and Martin McGuinness. And if anybody's seen an interview, he done an interview there where he was challenged about being in the IRA, where he said to the girl that was interviewing him, "Don't you be smarter than me." You could see the bitterness in him. Gerry thought he was in a room with a hood on him and a baseball bat in his hand, and that he could talk to people whatever way he felt like talking to them. But Gerry, you're no longer in the back room of some dirty, run-down, stinking place in a Republican ghetto. You're now in Stormont.
William Frazer, you've become famous for often saying what many other people think and being fearless in terms of the accusations that you've levelled at senior Republicans. Very publicly you have said that you're going to challenge Gerry Adams and your beliefs about him, and if he wants he can sue you. Are you prepared to do that on camera now?
Well, very much so. Gerry Adams is the commander of the IRA, or was the commander of the IRA. I don't know what he is now. He was a scumbag then. I know he's still a scumbag now, but he was a Republican activist who was responsible for the murder of innocent women and children. And I'm prepared to put that now on camera that Gerry, you're nothing but a murdering tramp who was a senior commander in the IRA. So I wish that you would sue me for defamation of character, and let's see who's right or who's wrong.
Can you further comment on the speculation that Adam's denial has been made upon legal advice and that he fears current legal action and writs by victims?
Well, if I was him, I would fear it, because they are coming, Gerry. Gone is the day that people now are as in feel intimidated as what they did 20, 25 years ago. Because people, although our leadership, or whatever you want to call it, have shown weakness, the will of the people is still every bit as strong, if not stronger. And for too long we have followed political advice and even spiritual advice that was wrong. Now the people are taking the lead themselves, and we intend to take the campaign to Gerry Adams, to Martin McGuinness, and to the Irish government and our own government, because what is right is right. It is often said that evil will prosper when good people do nothing. Well, there mightn't be many good people left, but there's enough left to do the job, and we intend to take this campaign to McGuinness and to Adams.
The victims' civil actions stand in stark contrast to moves by the government recently to issue royal pardons, it would appear, to senior Republicans who are on the run, who have escaped from jail. What is your comment? And it clearly underscores the need for what you do. What do you feel the government should be doing to support victims at this time?
Well, basically what we have said from the word go, the needs of the victims need to be answered. There needs to be a proper strategy put in place, where 10 years ago we talked about the strategy to help victims move forward, not to appease the terrorists or to make somebody look good, but for the actual need of the victims. We're not going to go away. As simple as that. We're not going to go away. We'll not be intimidated by the government or by the IRA or indeed by our own politicians. Like, we look at the situation here with the Queen. Now, we don't blame the Queen. Where a royal pardon were given to IRA men. It's our loved ones that signed up and gave an oath for Queen and country to defend them. I blame Sean Woodward and the people alongside him who were involved in this.
In conclusion, Willie, you began with an Easter message for Republicans. You mentioned that they really are celebrating defeat from 1916, but you must take, apart from the insult of the Queen's pardon, some degree of satisfaction that a senior Republican is now too ashamed or too scared to admit his responsibility and his role within that organisation, and that now senior Republicans are having to rely on a Queen's pardon for their freedoms.
Well, I suppose, if you're writing a comedy script, you couldn't get a better one than what's going on at the minute. We have IRA men throwing down the Queen's pound. We have IRA men who got the Queen's pardon. We have IRA men now who are sitting in a stormont that was formed in 1922, I believe. These people have got there through defeat. They never won a battle. They never had a victory of any type. Yes, they killed a number of individuals and they maimed a number of individuals, but morally and militarily they were defeated by the Protestant and Unionist community and a number of people from the nationalist community. Matter of fact, when you talk about the Easter Rising, these people never won anything. They never won a battle. Matter of fact, they never even won a Easter egg at their raffle at Easter. So, when these people talk about winnings, they won nothing. You say they couldn't even win the Easter egg in their own raffle. The IRA were defeated militarily, and they were defeated. They were defeated everywhere. We keep winning the battles, but we keep losing the peace because we allow the IRA to write the history.